For this experiment, you will need test solutions of Benedict's solution, iodine, Sudan red, and Biuret. You will also need solutions of onion juice, egg albumin, potato juice, corn oil, dilute solutions of glucose and sucrose and starch, distilled water, test tubes, disposable pipettes, a test tube rack, and a hot water bath containing boiling water. Take 3 test tubes in a stand. To each test tube, we're going to add 2 milliliters of solution. So into the first test tube goes 2 milliliters of glucose. This is what 2 milliliters of solution looks like in a test tube. To each of the 3 test tubes, now add 4 drops of Benedict's solution. Note the color. Now, take each of these tubes individually and using tongs, place them in the hot water bath. Observe any color change that you can see. It only takes maybe 10 seconds of time to be in the water bath. It may take a little more time in the hot water bath or additional drops of Benedict's solution, but ultimately you will see a color change. Next, take 2 milliliters of starch into one test tube, 2 milliliters of water into another test tube, and then test each of these test tubes with a solution of iodine. Note your observations in your lab book. Next, take 2 milliliters of corn oil, 2 milliliters of water into individual test tubes. Corn oil is viscous, and we will test both of these test tubes against the Sudan red solution. These test tubes may need a shake because the test solution is not completely miscible with the oil. And that one was just water. Record your observations in your lab notebook. After a couple of minutes, the colors have really developed. Next, we'll test 2 milliliters each of egg albumin and water against Biuret. Note those observations in your lab book. Finally, we're going to do a battery of tests, all 4 tests on these 2 different foods. On the left, there is potato juice, and on the right, there is onion juice. We're going to use all 4 solutions, each time on 2 milliliters of juice. The onion juice smells quite strongly, so be careful not to splash that on yourself. First, we're going to add Benedict solution to the potato juice and also to the onion juice. It might take a trip to the hot water bath to make these colors develop, so we'll check back in just a second. After a couple of minutes in the hot water bath, the colors have developed. We're going to move on now to the iodine test. Let those sit for a little while. Record the observations in your book. To the 3rd test tube, we're going to add the Sudan solution. And to the 4th test tube, we're going to add the Biuret solution. We're going to let all of these test tubes settle. Perhaps you're going to give the Sudan test tubes a shake, and we'll check back to see if any colors have developed over the next couple of minutes. After a few minutes, these colors have developed. Let's look closely at the potatoes. And at the onion. Record these observations in your lab notebook.